Being that we film on location in Nashville, I'd be remiss not to ask, where did you get the idea to have a life-size Dolly Parton statue in that first book? And is that a good example of adding those little details as you're working that really make the book come fully to life?
I don't know where ideas come from. They just appear. I, you know, like last week I was watching Netflix and I saw this documentary, a 20-minute documentary called John Was Trying to Contact Aliens. And then I just started thinking about, imagine a character, like you're writing a character whose father or mother, like their entire experience and their life and their goal was to contact aliens and how it would affect them and what that life would look like. What would their house look like? And I mean, as just a creative person, it could take something really small to build an entire picture of what a world would look like, a fictional world. So the Dolly Parton statue, I honestly don't know. I just thought they were from Nashville, and I thought, who's Nashville? Like to me, and you know, that kind of music is Dolly Parton, and I love Dolly, and I wanted to give her kind of a presence in the book without her actually being in it. So I made her into a giant statue.
Officer Off Limits and Asking for Trouble are the next two successful books in this series. Did you by then know pretty much where you wanted the storylines to go?
So the first book in the series, Protecting What's His, takes place in Chicago. And like I said, I intended that to be a standalone. But when she was like, well, let's make this into a series because it did well, I was like, well, I don't know anything about Chicago. So like, if you're going to ask me to write a book every 2 months, I'm going to need to like cut out that Chicago research and just write what I know. And I knew New York. I lived in Manhattan. I lived in Brooklyn for 12 years. And I just I knew the transportation system and the landmarks and just the general vibe and how the people are. And if I needed to do research, it was very close. I could go into the city and actually see it firsthand. So when she told me she wanted to make it into a series, the excitement of just being able to create a brand new group of characters that wouldn't just get their own book, but would be interacting with the couple, the focused couple in their book. And like, I would get to keep those people in my life and keep them in the reader's life for an extended period of time. That was so exciting. And learning how to drop little nuggets of interest in books about the secondary characters so that readers would want to go and find their book next. That's an art form, you know, it really is. And I think romance does that really, like romance authors do that really well. They put little Easter eggs. They're like, oh, he has a terrible past. Like, what happened to that guy? Why is he so mean? You know, and oh, is he, which one of the girls is he going to end up with? And just kind of like creating that interest and sewing it in is really like a foundation of romance, I find.
It must have been an incredible dream come true when Staking His Claim became your first New York Times bestseller. How much time did the publisher give you to enjoy it before they wanted to follow up?
Getting the phone call from my editor to tell me I was on the New York Times, I just did. I mean, I thought, like, you kind of expect your life to just immediately change and your phone to be ringing off the hook and like movie offers to start pouring in. But it really, everything stays the same. I mean, you do get more opportunities as an author. Like when you pitch a series to a publisher and you have a New York Times title, you do tend to get a lot more, obviously, a lot more consideration. So it is valuable. But like at that time, I mean, I think I sold 14,000 copies of that book in 1 week. And I mean, today that's almost unheard of, I think, because the romance market is so packed. So, I mean, I wish I could go back in time and appreciate it more, because like at that point I was like, I just got to write the next book, you know? Romance is very fast and furious. There's not a lot of chance to like rest on your laurels and enjoy, you know, the moment.
With the Made in Jersey series, you went across the bridge in New York speak. Why did you think that detour from the big city was right at that point in your career?
I just wanted to write something that was a little unfamiliar to me, but maybe still, you know, still had a city feeling to it, had like a urban feel to it, because I don't know small towns very well. I came from San Diego and I live in New York City, and I really, you know, it really, I think it came from driving to Staten Island and back and seeing the factories, like there. And I always wondered, like, who works at those factories and what is that like? And is it in what it's like in my head, or is it something completely different? So I kind of wanted to explore what it was like to be a woman working in a factory. And I also just like really like writing blue collar heroes. Like there is a huge market for billionaire romances, but it's just not something that interests me. I really would rather write about the everyman and his struggles and what it's like if money is an issue. So I thought, what better way to explore that than factory workers?
What was your research like for that book and knowing where you were going to have the characters go to make out and whatnot? Did you actually tour a factory?
I didn't go to a factory. You can see factories and the inner workings of a factory on like YouTube, or you can do things on the internet. But I would like to go and see it in real life. I bet you there's nobody falling in love though. I bet you there's not a lot of making out happening at those real life factories.